We're back. Alright. In this next section here of Psalms, welcoming everybody back. Sorry for the long hiatus. Just like a few days, needed to refresh. Alright. We have here Psalm Book 3. We're starting on Book 3. I believe there's, again, like 4 or 5 different Psalm books that we'll be covering. So we're almost through. But this next section, we have these as Psalms of Asaph. And if you don't remember, Asaph was, I think, one of the directors of music, or, in association with David's musicians, that Asaph. All right, so we have some psalms written by him here, which is a little bit of a change up, and the tone of these goes really well with what we just read about John's warning, if you will. At first, he's announcing, prepare for the king, which is all very exciting, and then he goes and really condemns. Shouldn't say condemns, but he brings about all the unsightly nature of what's going on in Jerusalem, of course, exposing people's sins and, saying that people really better prepare. And some of the accusations that John was filing didn't seem too unfamiliar. They didn't seem too unfamiliar to maybe what we have going on in today's world, interestingly enough. But I'll go ahead and read these Psalms of Asaph. We're going to have that similar tone, right? That kind of harshness that goes along with these Psalms. And to intro this, I have this quote here. Drinking when we are not thirsty, and making love all year round, madam. That is all there is to distinguish us from other animals. All right. So without going into arguments of truth or falsehood in this statement here, there's a little bit of what was that word that I was thinking of? There's a lack. I'll just say there's a lack of sacredness, right, for the ways of humans, the ways that humans behave. There's no pattern or rhythm like many animals have, a season for mating. They're on a very need-by-need basis. They're in a mode of survival when it comes to fueling themselves and things like that. But humans, right, we're for pleasure and enjoyment. And perhaps to our downfall do we enjoy these things in excess. And this is very much the holiday season where we're really experiencing that excess on many levels. So again, just something to think about, not, saying this in any good or bad way. This quote is actually from a play, comedy in 5 acts. So there's a little bit of satire within this quote. But this next section of Psalms is going to be a little bit more serious, really bringing up these human nature flaws and what we are to do with those flaws. Much like what John had brought up, repent, repel the sins. We have here Psalm Book 3. We're starting out with chapter 73. And Asaph begins, "For I envied the arrogant when I saw the prosperity of the wicked. From their callous hearts comes iniquity. Their evil imaginations have no limits. When I tried to understand all this, it troubled me deeply, till I entered the sanctuary of God. Then I understood their final destiny. Those who are far from you will perish. You destroy all who are unfaithful to you. They burned your sanctuary to the ground. They defiled the dwelling place of your name. But God is my king from long ago. He brings salvation on earth. It was you who set all the boundaries of the earth. You made both summer and winter. It is God who judges. He brings one down, he exalts another. It is you alone who are to be feared. Who can stand before you when you are angry? Will the Lord reject forever? Will he never show his favor again? The waters saw you, God. The waters saw you and writhed. The very depths were convulsed. The clouds were poured down under. The heavens resounded with thunder. Your arrows flashed back and forth. He decreed statutes for Jacob and established the law in Israel, which he commanded to our ancestors to teach their children, so the next generation would know them. even the children yet to be born, and they in turn would tell their children. Then they would put their trust in God and would not forget his deeds, but would keep his commands. But they continued to sin against him, rebelling in the wilderness against the Most High. He rained meat down on them like dust, birds like sand on the seashore. Yet their hearts were not loyal to him. Yet they were not faithful to his covenant. He destroyed their vines with hail, and their sycamore figs with sleet. Like their ancestors, they were disloyal and faithless, as unreliable as a faulty bow. Then he rejected the tents of Joseph. He did not choose the tribe of Ephraim. Pour out your wrath on the nations that do not acknowledge you, on the kingdoms that do not call on your name, for they have devoured Jacob and devastated his homeland. Whew. All right. So David had hinted at this nature, right? Please seek vengeance, Lord, on my enemies, right? David was, I don't want to say demanding, but asking, right? Asking the Lord to seek vengeance, help him reclaim his dignity after, he's felt and not taken advantage of, but after he's felt broken down, right? Brokenhearted, broken down, a little ego bruised, right? But now Asaph is really getting into the details and the truth of the matter, right? It is because those that are forgetting the Lord are already far off. Asaph is saying, cut them off even farther, right? Let them know, let them really understand and make it visible to others that the distance between them and the Lord is not a positive thing. So Asaph is getting into I like him. He's very, very poetic. You can definitely tell he's a songwriter, a musician, a creative. So Asaph is cuts to the chase and in the most beautiful way. So I really do like these a little doom and gloom right before the holidays, but it does give us a good time to remember, right, the good things. Remember who brought you the good things. Be grateful for your good things, and remember who brought and who delivered you into these good pleasures and good splendor that we are experiencing now, and how lucky and blessed, shouldn't say lucky, how blessed we are to be able to experience all these good quality things of life. Remember it frequently, and thank the Lord, speak to the Lord, ask of the Lord, right? And he will answer you in more ways than one. In many different ways he will respond. So I'll leave you with this, just short little psalms to start off our day. Thanks for joining me back again. Sorry for disappearing for a few days. Had to rest, get a little bit of sleep in there. Thanks for listening. Bye, you guys. Have a good rest of your Friday. Wow.